Hello and welcome to Scale Stuff. In this week's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 1/35th scale Jagdtiger by Takom. As always, before I get into the kit, it's time for a little bit of history. The Jagdtiger can best be described as a clinically obese ex-heavyweight boxer with a bad heart. If it hits you, you're dead. But if you run away from it up a flight of stairs and it chooses to follow you, it will have a heart attack and die. Another German superweapon from World War II, the Jagdtiger was released at the end of the Second World War, and it's essentially a tank destroyer made from a slightly elongated King Tiger chassis. The huge 12.8cm Pak 44 gun mounted on this beast was deadly and was able to knock out every World War II Allied tank used during the conflict from range. But the weight of this massive gun, combined with the 20cm thick armour in some places, added even more weight to an already strained King Tiger platform. This thing weighed over 70 tons and was the heaviest tank in the Second World War, and because of its weight, it was its own worst enemy. 80% of them removed themselves from combat due to mechanical problems, and they were then too heavy to easily be recovered. As far as tank destroyers go though, it does look big and scary, and this is why I've decided to build one for my collection. Now onto the model. Originally released by Takom in 2019, this version of the kit was released in 2020 and comes with new parts. This is a Takom Blitz kit, which apparently makes it faster to build for people like me who enjoy painting more than constructing. On first glance though, I noticed link by link tracks in this kit, so I have my doubts as to how fast I'll be able to build it. Sprues wise, a first look at the sprues shows them to be very crisp and clean with very little cleanup needed, which I should hope so as the kit's only 2 years old at the time of making this video. The plastic armour also has a nice metal texture to it, and I hope this doesn't get buried later on during painting. There's also a little bit of photo etched in this kit, which will really finish the rear deck of this model. As always, I've checked around the internet to see if the rivet counters have spotted anything wrong with this model, and couldn't find anything major, just a couple of bolts missing from the mesh that goes over the air intakes on the back. So that's something to note if you want to fix this to try and make it a little bit more accurate. Anyway, now on to building the beast. Like with every model, there's a few things to watch out for when building this kit. First bit to watch out for, right off the bat in step 1, the tension wheel axles. I found them a really tight fit. Don't do what I did and force them in, as after leaving the model to dry, I found the plastic around them had split. If these parts are a tight fit on your model, a quick sand will fix them at this stage and will mean no splitting for you. Another bit to watch out for, that's best done early on in the build, is the front armour plate. The fit's a bit tight. I had to sand the bottom edge down to get it to fit and leave some paint pots on it while it dried. If you fit this right at the start, rather than when the instructions ask you to, in step 18 at the end of the build, handling and dry fitting and getting all this sorted out will be a lot easier, as there won't be any delicate bits on the model to break. And adding this frontal armour right on early in the build doesn't interfere with building anything else later on, so yeah, that'll get everything sorted out to start with. Speaking of delicate bits, the tracks on this kit are link by link and really quite delicate. They can with some effort be made into a sort of live track. For me, this was the most tedious bit of the kit, but after doing 20 links or so, you start to get the hang of it and it doesn't become quite so mind-numbing and you can actually get a bit of progress on the go. I found with building these though, it was best to build them and then drape them over the wheels while the glue dries to get them the right shape into them. And yeah, once the glue is dry, remove the tracks, paint them up, paint the wheels up, add the tracks back on and glue it all into place so it's less delicate to handle. As if you're going to add the tracks at the end of the build, I would say again you might risk damaging some of the finer details on the model, as yeah, getting all the tracks to line up around the wheels was a little bit fiddly. Building the tracks was the longest part of the build and took me about 5 hours to do, but I will admit that the track link in link sort of style does look good when done, and yeah, it does look better than the cheap rubber ones I've used on a lot of the older kits I've made. I even decided to leave the skirts off this model to better show them off, so yeah, I was proud of them when it was finished. Other than the tracks, the model's plain sailing for the most part. There's a little bit of a fit issue again in step 18, adding the armoured mantlet. There seems to be an issue with gluing this, as the tabs in the barrel don't seem to quite reach inside the mantlet, but with a little bit of force the glue can catch. Might be better to pack this out with something though, to be honest with you, rather than brute forcing it like I did. But overall, the kit's easy and straightforward to construct, other than the aforementioned sins. One thing I really thought was nice in this kit though was the build manual. It's very well polished with some top-notch presentation, and a lot better than some of the instructions I've seen with other brands of kit. This kit sadly doesn't come with any figures, which I think is a bit of a shame, but for many I know this won't be an issue. Decals wise, the kit comes with options to build 3 tanks, all of them from the 653rd Heavy Tank Destroyer Battalion, based in France in 1945. As I think only around 10 models of this early type Jagdtiger were made, and they all seem to be in the same place. I found the decals supplied in this kit were a little bit thick, with a bit more carrier film than I'd like. They go on easily though. Another bit to note when it comes to painting this tank is the provided colour plans, at least the one for the first tank shown, 314. The camo doesn't line up properly, so after initially trying to copy the camo pattern, I gave up and did my own thing on this model. I think that this lets down an otherwise great full colour build manual, and yeah, I was a little bit disappointed by that bit. But yeah, in conclusion on this model, the 135th Jagdtiger by Takom is a nice kit. Overall it goes together fast and easily, and the addition of a little photo etch is a real nice touch. The build manual also comes across as the nicest one I've seen so far to date, but the kit does have a few things to watch out for during the build. Overall I was impressed by the kit, being the first Takom model I've actually built, but I feel it feels a little short on a few minor things that could have been so easily cleaned up before release, like the front armour plate and the manlet fitting, along with a few like staging changes just to make it so it's easier not to break small parts. I think that this kit would be suitable for an experienced beginner, as though the errors are simple, for the completely uninitiated they could be a little bit frustrating. Price wise, I paid £37 for this model second hand. It normally retails around the £45 mark, and I would say though, for what you get, that it's a fairly priced model that builds up into an accurate representation of a Jagdtiger. Anyway, that's my review of the 135th Takom Blitz early type Jagdtiger. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you find this video helpful if you're planning on building one of these yourself at home. But until next time, look after yourself and have a good one. Goodbye.